Hey, how are you? My name is Felt, and welcome back to Magic the Gathering Arena. Today we are playing some Explorer, and we are playing the villain of the format, Blue-White Control. Now, the deck list is going to be in the description, and there will actually be two deck lists in the description. One will be the version that I physically played in the video, which is this one right here. And the other will be the version of the deck list that this is based off of, which just has a better mana base, essentially. My mana base is kind of scuffed because, well, the mana base is really expensive. It costs lots and lots and lots and lots of rare wild cards to play this deck. So I made some sacrifices to have a slightly worse mana base, but still have access to all the powerful cards that this deck needs to function. So let's talk about the deck in the first place. What is this deck? Well, it's Blue-White Control, which sounds very obvious, but it is a pretty quick blue-white control with lots of survivability that is poised to take on almost all of the threats that Explorer can throw at it. Now, it does lose on occasion to certain decks, like if you're playing into Rakdos or Abzan or Mono Black and they hit you really early with multiple Thought Seizes, you're probably going to have a rough time, but any deck has a rough time into multiple Thought Seizes, right? So that's kind of a moot point. This deck's whole purpose is survival into domination via Teferi and Shark Typhoon. Typically, your win con is either get Teferi out so your opponent can't really do anything, or get out Shark Typhoon and the Wandering Emperor and just start making tokens over and over and over again. You have lots of really powerful counter magic, between Absorb, being able to gain you life for countering spells, Dovin's Veto for being an uncounterable counter, Censor for being a cheap counter spell that is also allowed to cycle itself, and just having access to stuff that can't be countered, like Supreme Verdict. You also have some powerful board wipes in Farewell, and you have great card searching with Memory Deluge. Now, this is the basic version of the deck. There will be a sideboard. The sideboard is quite often entirely there for counter matchups. It's mostly good for dealing with the counter matchup into blue, in a way, because of gaining access to, multiple copies of Dovin's Veto, multiple Mystical Disputes, or maybe just putting a Dream Trawler into the board, into matchups, and to say you can get it where you could get a Dream Trawler out and just get some lifelink rolling. Hullbreaker Horror is also on here, as well as some interesting stuff like Knockout Blow, which is pretty decent into some decks. It's pretty good into Greasefang, in my experience and opinion. It can be okay into like Selesnya, Collected Company Angels, sometimes into Mono Green as well, but it's mostly for mono red, as you can tell by the fact that it says red creature. You also have stuff like Aether Gust in here for the mono red matchups, and stuff like Decimating Silence for either the control or the burn matchups. This deck is very versatile, and like I said, the cards, all like the actual physical main cards, like the Teferis, the Wandering Emperors, these are all basically what the deck runs, even inside of the Explorer version of the deck, for the most part. I think there's one or two exceptions, but it's mostly intact. Like I said, there'll be two versions of the decks in the descriptions. I will include the one that I run because I want you to be able to see the deck that I used in the video. And then I will also include the one with the fixed mana base in case you want to know what you should probably be using as your mana base for the deck. I can even go and show it off really quick. It will be incomplete, very obviously, because, no mana base. But as you can see, it includes lots of copies of things like Irrigated Farmland, full playsets of Hollowed Fountain, and then some Glacial Fortresses as well, which just make the mana base a lot easier to deal with. In place of the farmlands, I have tri-lands that are cyclable, because that's kind of the points of these. Tapped lands that are also cyclable. In place of Hollowed Fountains, ran one or two Pain lands, as well as Pathways, and I ran Fast lands in place of the Glacial Fortresses. Make whatever adjustments you feel like you need or necessary in order to run the deck well. I do recommend that the main board stays pretty similar. The sideboard could probably be able to be changed. Mystical Dispute is always good, though. But yeah, let's hop right into some gameplay and be the Scourge of Explorer. Alright, we go first. Very slow hand. I don't think I can keep it. Not much faster. We can keep it, I guess. It's pretty rough out here, I tell you what. I don't think I need both counter spells. I think I'm probably only going to keep one counter spell on the board wipe and pray. None of those opening hands were really keepable. We could have made an argument for the very first hand because we were on the play, But, pretty hard argument to make. And it looks like we're into either mono red, aggro, or burn, so I think the Supreme Verdict will work pretty well here. As well as just having access to Censor in case they try and play stuff like maybe an Eidolon. Extra Fanatical Firebrands isn't really a big deal. We'll buy ourselves some tempo, though. We'll buy ourselves a little bit of tempo, save ourselves a damage a turn. We do have the right mana colors for the Supreme Verdict to be able to play it on curve. I was tempted to play out the Narset, but Narset just kind of dies. I don't know if that's the play. Robber of the Rich, little annoying. We can board wipe next turn and clean this up. Yeah, let's go ahead and wipe this board out. Narset does allow us some decent card advantage, though we might just kind of chill back with the Absorb while we slowly draw ourselves into better situations. Take it back. Annex needs to go. Let's go hunting.
I know
I take it all back. That's fine. Narset probably dies here to Annex, getting more devotion, but that's fine. We just wanted answers. Burning Tree Emissary, a little annoying. We'll hopefully be able to eventually round ourselves out into a farewell here. Matchups like this are why we want the Absorb. Our opponent can see that we have the Fateful Absence, so we do just kind of want to chill back. Getting a land here is very, very good. I believe that means we can play both Absorb and Fateful Absence here. Assuming my mana is correct, which it should be, because I need 2 blue and a white for Absorb, and then a white and a colorless for Fateful Absence. They went into combat. We will kill the Annex because, well, it's a good decision. We don't want to take 7 damage. No Embercleave for you, opponent. I'm sorry. That's kind of what I was worried about. That's why I really wanted to make sure I could have both. This is not the right play, but I need cards. This is not the right play, but I desperately need card advantage here. Teferi will die. He will. But I will be able to fare well. Which could be pretty good if my opponent doesn't really have anything. Oh, we might just be dead. I think that's lethal, because it deals like double damage, right? That much plus 2 instead. Yeah. Yeah, that's just lethal, because that's 5, not... Yeah. I was like, why are you changing your target, opponent? That's lethal. Unfortunate. We had to mold a 5. We nearly had it, though. That was a very lucky top deck for my opponent. That is 1 card away from, I think, being able to pull it out. I think maybe if I had drawn into another Absorb there? No, an Absorb wouldn't have done it. Like a Fateful Absence or something might have done it. But GG's opponent. On to the next. Alright, we are on the play. We're not going to make the same mistake we made last time. We're keeping a bad on the play hand. Oh, that's implying that these videos, the games in this video come out in the order that I played them. I'll try and make sure that that other game comes before this one in the final recording. Don't know what my opponent's playing. It could be a mirror match, or it could just be... Soldiers? I mean, she is a soldier. It could be soldiers. Soldiers isn't a bad deck in Historic. It's just not very... We'll just kill off the Lavinia now. She doesn't actually cause us too many problems, but it's one of those, like, why not moments. We're gonna take away the token we just gave them. A little bit of an odd decision, but it does kind of work out. We don't really have anything else to spend our mana on, and soldiers, I bet, won't really be going for too much. Do we hold back for the Supreme Verdict? I think we might. I think we might pray for the Supreme Verdict to land here in place of trying to go after anything else. Which it does. I think we let them overcommit. I think we let them overcommit to this board state. I don't believe they can kill us. Math is quite hard. Let's try and do it. 5, 7, 9, 11. I think that's enough that we try and play the Wandering Emperor. We're baiting out counter magic here for the most part because I can't imagine that they're not playing counter magic. Take away the most amount of damage dealt. We see what they play. Alright, cool. We got some life back and we took away their biggest chunk of damage. I think now we play the Supreme Verdict. Are they going to play anything else? No? Alright, sure. Now we absolutely play the Supreme Verdict. Can't be countered. Just destroys the board state. They could technically flash in another... What's the name of that? Resolute Reinforcements? Yeah, so they could flash in another one and kill my Emperor, but doesn't really bother me. If they spend the entire turn killing that, that means my life total is allowed time to go up.
Back to wandering.
And we just kind of hold. We can make little tokens with Castle Ardenvale to force our opponent to use their Valiant Veteran. We can use stuff like March for 0 to take out any tokens that they play. Cool, we baited that out of them, no problem. I think we will go ahead and just Verdict again. We have 2 open mana. It allows us to March 1-drops and just Fateful Absence other stuff. We're doing pretty okay here. 2-drop, we will March that. But we will wait. We do have access to Absorb here, so... Math is hard, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this for 2, that's 3 mana? We still have enough for Absorb if we tap correctly. Yep, that taps correctly. Still have enough for Absorb, meaning we can gain some life back. Exiling that is just some nice, easy magic. Do this to gain some life. Counter out any card draw that they could be going for. Have access to the Wandering Emperor now. And at least 2 other creatures attack. Okay. We will flash in our Emperor here. And just go ahead and start making some tokens. Build our own board state up.
Hope you're ready. Let your blade do the talking.
Do we play the Rafine's Tower? I don't think so. I think we hold it for cycling. I just think we hold it for cycling here. Same way that we would hold a land that's cycled for 2 here. It's moments like this where, like, technically speaking, the other lands are better because they cycle for less. Ganjo's okay to just kind of hold in hand. Farewell's nice. Let's pump a little. Ganjo's an okay land to hold in hand. We can also start using the Ardenvale to just, like, start going wide. I mean, what are they gonna do? Double block my guy? Nope. Hang on, how much is that? 4 in a tap? So yeah, I can't. So we'll just kill it now. We'll kill it now because it makes extra tokens for them, and we just don't want them to have that. Go ahead and play that as a tapped land. Pump.
Strike fast and strike hard.
We are slowly working on the beatdown plane. We don't actually have as much in our hand as we could right now. This is one of those, like... Okay, so this is one of those, like, I feel like if I grabbed a Memory Deluge here, this would be much better.
Remember your training.
Also, this is just straight lethal. I mean, do I go for it? I think I go for it, actually. Bye, Torrens. I think that's worth it. Then we have Memory Deluge to refill our hand a little bit here. GG's Bant Soldiers, I think? I think that was Bant. It looked like it was Bant Soldiers. Did they play any cards that are green besides Torrens? I don't know. Was it just Taurens? Oh no, I guess it was humans, right? No, but it wasn't humans, because there was an elf druid soldier. I don't know why Taurens was in there. Maybe it's because they make white human soldiers, and that's what they were thinking. I don't know. Either way, GG's, on to the next. We are on the play. We have mana for Absorb or Narset and Portable Hole. I'm feeling pretty confident and comfortable about this hand. Not like the greatest hand of all time, but I'm feeling pretty comfortable and confident. Something that I always consider when I play decks like this is getting the dual-faced modal lands for like Narset. That doesn't tell me anything about what they're playing, so we'll see. If I see like a Grizzly Salvage or something, I probably get concerned. Okay, I have no idea what they're playing. If they kill Narset, it's fine. Doesn't really bother me. We just want card advantage right now. They could easily have access to any number of kill spells that hit Narset here. I'm just hunting for good stuff. Hindsight, kind of wish I hadn't Narseted and just maybe left her on the board. Because I could have been drawing into lands, and I need lands. But it's fine. It's not the end of the world. It's fine. Obviously, cutting off your opponent's draw can be incredibly valuable. Regardless of the matchup. Your opponent not being able to draw extra cards and having to deal with Narset first can be nice. Or just them feeling the need to kill Narset. Ooh, thank you for the...
needs a rest.
Because we have access to Absorb as a just-in-case measure, just in case they play something scary, we hold until end step, and then we draw with the token. I mean, it's classic Magic gameplay. It could flash something in. If it's like soldiers or something? Veto. Interesting. I think we play the tapped land first. And I think we just dump the Portable Hole at this point. Looks like they're going combo, probably? Or is of control combo or something like that? I don't know. I'm a little confused. We're basically fine, though. Oh, they're Mardu! Mardu vampires, I guess. Bye, Soren. We have access to Dovin's Veto. We can do this. I was trying to think about whether or not this was a playable play, and it is, it is. With access to Dovin's Veto and my opponent on pretty low mana, I can't imagine they have a way to kill Teferi twice over. They could! They could! They could! This could be a mistake. This could absolutely be a mistake here, but I'm pretty sure that Teferi is, like, totally safe. I can't imagine that a 3-mana Mardu deck has 2 ways of killing Teferi. I mean, 4 mana maybe, like, they could, like, double Fateful Absence. In this instance, I'm just going to Dovin's Veto that, which is why I was like, alright, I'll keep this. Oh, and our opponent just scoops. You might see that a handful of times yourself if you play this deck. A lot of people will not like it when you land Teferi and are allowed to untap. Because, to be fair, you are now drawing an extra card each game. Each turn. Sorry, words are hard. Drawing an extra card per turn if your opponent isn't playing threats. If they are playing threats, you might be able to tuck them back into their library. And just in general, it's just really hard to deal with a Teferi on board if you're not allowed to instantly kill it. So yeah, GG's opponent, I don't quite know what you were doing, but you did get mana screwed, and I feel for you on that front. On to the next. We are on the draw. We actually have an okay hand. You might think, that's a little bit weird for an okay hand. If they play a 1-drop that's, like, actually scary, you Portable Hole it. Otherwise, you can, like, Shark Typhoon for 0. If they play a scary 2-drop, like Gifted Aetherborn, we can just Portable Hole it. Just take that off the battlefield. We can cycle out the Censor as well if we think our opponent is just going to get too much mana to be able to be dealt with. Misery's Shadow. Let's cycle. Them just playing that out raw dogged makes me think that they don't really have much else. Yep, they do not. You can always Shark Typhoon for 1. Absorb to deal with the scarier 3-drop threats, like maybe an Underdog. Underdog's not scary. I meant Trespasser. Graveyard Trespasser. Or Liliana. No. want to keep my cards. Thank you very much. And we'll do it like this again. We're working towards just playing Wandering Emperor. I think we will exile this. You know what we could do? We could just make a 2-2 and make them waste their mana to pump the Shadow, but I think this is just the better decision.
Feel the energy of battle, then guide it like water. You are not much.
If they make
of a
me
river.
discard something with another Liliana, I might just play, like, drop my Hollow the Storm Giants. Sign in Blood. Huh. Not what I was expecting. Dovin's Veto, very good card to draw in this instance. If they play anything that's scary, we can just Dovin's Veto it, and then we'll have Farewell on our next turn. There's not very much that they play that I think is like scary other than like Invoke Despair probably, but I don't know if they're playing Invoke Despair. Explorer doesn't see Invoke Despair near as often as other formats in my experience, but I could be wrong. Because we know it's an Invoke Despair deck, we don't play Shark Typhoon.
Guards, to me.
There's no reason to play the Shark Typhoon if we know they're playing Invoke Despair, because it's an enchantment that'll just get hit. Graveyard Trespasser, not super scary. There's nothing in my graveyard to eat that matters, and it's not like me getting anything back from it matters, so... That... I kind of want to just farewell the board now, but I also don't want to farewell the board. Do I play? You know what? I think I know the play.
We've got the edge in this fight.
Yeah, okay. If they're doing that, then farewelling is a great decision. If they're fatal pushing you out of nowhere like that, they're probably like concerned about their state of game. Just getting rid of their board state's not a bad decision at that point. Sorin, not really scary, honestly.
For the sake of all Innistrad, my will must.
That's not a big deal.
You.
We do want some forms of card draw in our hand soon, but we're not really sketching it. Sad about it. Play E1 blue. We'll make a little token.
Let your blade
And we'll
do
probably
the
just
talking.
drop our Shark Typhoon for 3. To kill that. Especially once they play Fatal Push on my token again, because they can't help themselves. Spoiler alert, mono black players, you should probably just start expecting Shark Typhoons out of your opponents. Revealing a Graveyard Trespasser. If they're going through that,
Not for the weak.
they swing at the thing, we make our Shark Typhoon, we make our creature for, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 mana. If we do it for 3, I don't think we can also play Memory Deluge. We'd have to only do it for 2, but it's fine. We'll just do it for max value then, because we don't have anything else we want to play. Oh, I flubbed. I should have thought about holding open 3 mana in case I drew a veto. That's my bad. That's on me. That was a misplay. That's just straight up my bad. We're just going to main phase this. Go hunting for some answers. I don't want another Shark Typhoon, actually. Then let's grab another Wandering Emperor, actually.
I'm never done for good. We must protect the people.
And then depending on what they play, will determine what I do here. Yawn. But not yawn. My opponent's probably just going to keep plussing Sorin. I don't know why they're not playing out their Graveyard Trespasser here.
Blood for knowledge. A fair trade.
So they're playing that out now. They can eat my Memory Deluge, which is fine. I got my value. Mono Black seems absolutely obsessed with not eating the right cards. Alright, let's keep our life total high, shall we?
Now you've done it. Hat's coming off.
They're probably going to play removal here. They could also just be like looking at this. Shieldred. Ooh, one for it. And we'll draw. We'll play Teferi and we'll just tuck away that Shieldred. Bye-bye, lady.
Reverse.
And that's why Teferi is good.
May your blade strike true.
And now we have two little buddies. We can make a tiny little flyer, Shark Typhoon. My opponent only has one card in hand, so I'm not exactly scared. And I get to see exactly what they get otherwise. They just get a land. Yeah, that doesn't scare me.
Wish to know my secrets? Very well.
And we have Joven's Veto in hand just in case they try and play a kill spell. But we hold the Veto quite a while here, I think. I don't even know if we Shark Typhoon. I legitimately don't think we use Shark Typhoon here. Like, almost no matter what. Yeah, no, that was the right decision, me. Good job, me. Thanks, me. I mean, they can sack this and then put two -1/-1 counters on a creature, kill off one of my things, but I don't quite think that's the right decision, considering I can see exactly what you're going to play on this upcoming turn. What do I know? Alright, let's draw an extra card.
No time for a break.
Let's kill Sorin.
Tragedy befalls us all.
Let us Memory Deluge and hunt more protection and removal. I'll take that and that. We will untap you and you. And since we can see exactly what they have in their hand, we're not exactly scared. They really, really, really want to play that Shieldred. I also really, really, really want to draw a card. We're feeling pretty comfy here, though. 23 life. My opponent's actually lower in life totals than me. Teferi dies, he dies. I find it interesting that they keep eating my stuff that really doesn't matter. How fast Prio passed, I don't think they have removal, so we'll just kill. Let's just hard play this Shark Typhoon. Let's make them have the Invoke Despair, shall we?
Hold that thought.
Oh, never mind. We can just... What's that, 3? And we will drop our land. Holding an extra Teferi in hand is always good. Exile it so they can't get it back with, like, any shenanigans. And all is right in the world.
You know what?
I should have Castle Vantress first. Oh, well. Yeah, we don't need either one of those. Liliana of the Veil. What are they gonna make me do?
Nobody knows
Sack a
Dominaria
creature?
shadows like me.
Hang on, math is hard. Can I just animate my hall and sack it? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, let's sack the hall.
Sacrifices
We don't
must
need
be
the
made.
land right now.
Fine. I know when I'm not wanted.
Keep up the pace.
I should have scried first again, I forgot. That's my bad. Those are amazing right now, actually. And now we can cycle the Triome and then play Absorb if they play something that's scary. Or, well, actually, I think if they play anything. Oh, okay. Who cares? Lose life, yeah. I'm going to take my Teferi, my March, or my March. Oh no! One of my Teferis is gone. Anyways.
We need to move quickly.
We'll do that so they can't draw lands anymore. Make some more shark tokens. Go hunting for some more interaction.
Open mind.
Maybe is fine. We now have such a setup that I don't... Sure, yeah, those. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to play anything. Yeah, GG's opponent. We really got ahead of him in that game. Holy cow. I was not expecting to control the tempo that hard. I guess that's one of those cases of, like, they didn't have the Thoughtseize to interact with my hand, so I just kind of got to get away with drawing and playing whatever I wanted, so they had a really hard time. GG's. As much as I'd love to keep this hand, this is unkeepable in the highest order. This is playable. This is absolutely playable. I think we dropped the wastes because we kind of want everything else. We drop the waste because it's a pain land. And we can get double blue off of the pathway and the beach. So I think we do this and just drop the wastes, which is a bit of a weird one. But there's a chance this pays off in my favor. We're gonna do this so we can cycle Shark Typhoon for 0 if we really need to, like, go hunting for something. Even Devastator. That's 1 damage that doesn't actually scare me. Like this. We're doing pretty good on lands, though. We can now cycle the Shark Typhoon for 1 and trade with the Devastator, which is nice. We do also have Absorb or just Supreme Verdict. Do we absorb that? I think we absorb that. Just because it's free life. It puts us back up to 22. It's not that we don't have ways of dealing with that type of threat. It's that this is just an easier way of dealing with it, you know? Let's try and drag out some stuff from them. Well, if they have it, it's sorcery speed. We'll tempt fate.
I know what must be done. Let's skip to the...
We'll tempt fate here. What do I mean by tempt fate? There's stuff like Obliterating Bolt and Fry in the format. Both of which can kill Teferi, like, instantly. Yeah, I can do this. I can easily do this. It's a little sketchy for, like, the
Those who
one
cannot
part of the
perceive
turn here.
beyond the veil
You know
of
what?
reality are
I'm
lost.
not done yet.
Meditate and prepare.
It's a little sketchy to do stuff like that because Teferi becomes unprotected for a second, but... meh. Also, they're Boros? A little confused. But yeah, this is looking like a... This is looking like it's about to be a clean sweep in my favor. My opponent doesn't look like they can really do
Keep an
much.
open mind.
I'm drawing tons of removal and counter spells and things of the like.
No time for a break.
We're slowly working towards total world domination. And by total world domination, I mean we've been getting pretty lucky on our draws. Spare Teferi means we can probably ultimate this Teferi soon. Urabrask's Forge! No. I guess we just draw. Okay, yeah. I was going to say, I guess we just draw here? I don't really know what else to do. I guess I could have drawn and swung with the Hall. I guess it would have depended on what I drew, right? If I drew an Absorb, I probably wouldn't have swung with the Hall. But if I drew Veto, I would have, because then I could untap the Hall and then dual land. Either way, we got really lucky. Our opponent got really unlucky. It looked like it was going to be some type of Boros aggro with like haste, and we just had full control from the rip. Yeah, GG's opponent. I hope you enjoyed that gameplay. It was pretty fun for myself. I think I included a loss in there, so you can see that the deck isn't infallible. It's just really strong. But yeah, the deck's whole thing is just kind of tempo game plans that keep the other really fast decks in check through stuff like Censor and Dovin's Veto and Absorb, keeping yourself alive and rolling in order to get to your bigger stuff like Supreme Verdict, win through Shark Typhoon or Teferi, stuff like that. It's a pretty powerful deck overall. It's a fairly well-tuned deck, in my experience. It feels really, really good to get stuff like off the draw when you draw it. Personal opinions after playing it more. Portable Hole is the easiest thing to cut in this deck by a country mile. You might think, well, but like Portable Hole is great fodder for March of Otherworldly Light because you can exile the Portable Hole and then use March to hit like 3 drops for really cheap. Yes, but Portable Hole as a draw doesn't do much if your opponent isn't playing 1 and 2 drops, which a lot of decks don't and are leaning more towards the 3 and 4 drops. It's pretty good into like Abzan Greasefang because you can like exile their Stitcher Supplier on turn 1 or something like that. But like into other decks, into certain decks, it just doesn't do as well. It does really good into Arclight Phoenix though, because it hits Ledger Shredder and it hits Thing in the Ice, and they don't really have good ways of hitting artifacts because they typically don't main board a Braid. It's typically a sideboard choice, but they do sideboard it, so keep an eye out for that if you're playing a Arclight Phoenix. Sideboard, you didn't get to see any of it, but we didn't really need any of it. Like I said, these are typically like matchup dependent cards, Deafening Silence into more controlling matchups on average. Aether Gust into you're playing into green and red, Knockout Blow you're playing into red, more Dovin's Vetoes into a more control-based matchup, or maybe just kind of a mid-rangey brawl, Dream Trawler for when you want like just another creature to just kind of fill it out. Same with Hullbreaker Horror. Mystical Disputes are great for the counter spell wars. We just go back and forth. Mystical Dispute only costing 1 when it targets a blue is pretty powerful. Yeah, my mana base does have issues. I noticed that a handful of times where I would just like draw my Triumph and I was like, oh, I need to cycle this, and it would cost me 3 to cycle it, as opposed to the other cycle lands that you can have where they cost 2 to cycle it. So like I said, this is a reminder, I will put 2 versions of the deck in the description. One is the version that I played in the video, and one will be a version with a much, much better mana base that will typically perform better on curve just because the mana is better. But as I feel like I got to show off, as long as you have like most of the important cards, like you have your Castle Ardenvales, you have your Castle Vantresses, you got your Halls of the Storm Giant, you got your Fields of Ruins, like the more important cards, you can kind of fudge the mana base a little bit and probably get away with it. But overall, thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to catch you in the next one.